Ambition can drive us to achieve incredible things. But what happens when it pushes us too far? In this video, I'm going to share how to harness your ambition without burning out, and why the secret to sustainable success might not be what you think. Stick around to the end for a game-changing tip that could redefine the way you pursue your goals. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 key ideas to take away and to think about. The first one is to consider the problem of overdrive. So what happens when ambition turns into overwork, or it turns into obsession? We've all known those people, right? The ones who get really into something and it becomes all that they think about and all that they do and all that they talk about. And when they get into that situation, they create risks for themselves. They neglect the relationships that are important and that will sustain them in the long run. They burn out either physically, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, or they just get unbalanced. They lose a sense of who they are and what's important. I've seen that happen many times with people that I know in my personal life, but also people who I've helped through my coaching, help them really to get that balance back. And so I want to help you to avoid that problem. So let's think about the early warning signs. So one of them might be if you realize that you're losing connection with the people who matter to you. Are they saying to you repeatedly, you're getting obsessed, or that's all you talk about? Now, you need to be a little bit careful with this, because when you set out to do anything of value, that's going to make other people feel uncomfortable, because you doing something and trying to push yourself forward might be just showing them up as, sitting on the sofa watching Netflix with a bag of Doritos. But if you hear it over and over and over again, maybe just take a step back and reflect on that. Maybe you've gone a little bit too far on one thing in your life. Other signs might be that you are becoming mentally fatigued, that even when you're thinking about the thing that is your ambition, or you're working on your big project, your brain's not working anymore. That could be a sign that you are mentally exhausted. And that again comes from a lack of balance in our lives. We need to make sure that we get the right stimulus at the right level for our bodies, our minds, our emotions, our relationships, and everything else. You push one of them too far, you might find that you become mentally incapacitated. And that's difficult to come back from. Another sign might be that you are emotionally exhausted. Are you finding that you're tetchy? Are you snappy? Or are you withdrawn? Are you feeling that you've lost the energy that you had and the drive that you had towards your ambition? Again, that might be a sign that you are in the early foothills of burnout, or that you have got the balance wrong between your ambition and the rest of your life. So here's the second key idea. I want you to think about balance and sustainability when you're considering your ambition. So you need to come up with strategies to balance your drive and the work that you do towards your ambition with self-care and relationships. One way I like to encourage my clients to think about this is that balance isn't just about work and life. I think that's a really ridiculous way to think about it for 2 reasons. The first one is it says that this thing called work has to be equally balanced with family, spouse, relationships, playing football, sport, reading books, going to the cinema, looking after the kids, staying in touch with elderly relatives, etc. Personal finances. There's a lot. And that doesn't feel equal to me. But also it says that work isn't part of life. And that's nonsense, particularly for people like you and I who are driven to achieve their ambition. Work is a major part of life. And so defining it as being something separate might not be the right approach to you. But here's what I do to make sure that you are getting the balance right. Do a little audit of yourself. What is it you need for yourself to be well and happy? What do you like spending time doing? And make sure you do that during the week. Also, make sure that you're doing something physical on a regular basis. You're getting your exercise, you're getting your heart rate up. That's great for your mental and emotional as well as your physical health. The second thing, after self, what do you need to do for your family? Now, if you're watching this, you may not have a family in the traditional sense yet. That's fine. You'll have friends that are really close. You may have parents. You will have people who are important to you. So consider family to be whatever is meaningful to you. Make sure that you have touch points regularly with them and that they are prioritized in the right way. They don't have to occupy a huge amount of time, but if you spend time with your spouse, actually spend time with your spouse. Don't be distracted elsewhere. Half an hour of doing that and having them feel it and you feel reciprocated is going to set you up for a long time. Don't neglect it. The next thing that's really important is community. How are you connected to the rest of the world? That might be a sports team. It could be a church. It could be an online community. It could be gaming. Different things matter to different people, but we need to feel connected and part of community to be well. So make sure you're getting that into your routine as well. Work, we'll deal with in another video, but make sure you're prioritizing the things that you love to do. If you hate admin, outsource it. If you love creating content, can you make that your priority? And the final thing is about daily practice. We all know that there's things that we should do every day that we probably don't. And they're different for every person. For me, I think breath work, meditation, and lifting, physical exercise. Those three things I need to prioritize. And do I? Let's be honest, cobbler's shoes, no, I don't. But I do know that if I feel myself drifting off, the answer can be to reprioritize those things and have a daily practice that matters. Yours could be different. It might be a walk in nature. It could be reading a novel. It could be prayer. It could be meditation or breath work. You'll know what it is. Make sure you're prioritizing that. Which brings us to the third idea. And that's about redefining success. When you're thinking about your ambition, and when we think about that word, often we frame it as things like wealth, fame, money, status. But what if you took that idea of the balance between yourself, your family, your community, your work, and your daily practice, and you imagined a life where all of those things were just how you wanted them to be? If you could define a successful life, a successfully delivered ambition to include those things, you're going to set yourself a slightly different target. And it might take a little bit longer to achieve, but you will also find that you prioritize the things that are going to lead to success. You're going to prioritize the things that lead to sustainable success. So there we go. Redefine success and you will get ambition in the healthiest way possible. That's something that I've done in my own life. I realized that my ambition previously was to be a CEO. But when I looked at what that would mean, I realized it wasn't going to give me the other things that I wanted in my life. Just one of which was agency over my time. That is really important to me because I've got a pretty big family, a blended family, and at times it's complicated. So being able to choose when and where I work is meaningful to me. It really matters. And that's just one small part of it. But by going through these kinds of processes and figuring out what ambition really means, you'll define it in a healthy way. You'll be more likely to work towards it on the days when it's dark and miserable and cold. You're more likely to achieve it. That's the end of the video. I hope you found this useful. I'm sure YouTube will stick another one up here. Be delighted if you would watch that. And if you get anything from this content, please consider liking, sharing it, subscribing to it. It really helps people like me to get the message out. Have a beautiful day. I've been Stephen.